In this video, we're going to be looking at is intermittent fasting or regular dieting best for getting shredded? You see, in the fitness industry, people like to marry certain approaches. You've got the intermittent fasting crowds who think that it's got some magical powers, and then you've got the other side who think that intermittent fasting is the worst thing you could possibly do because you're going to lose muscle mass. Intermittent fasting was made famous by Martin Berkhan. I'm going to get a picture here. They call it like the Leangains approach, and until recently there was no studies looking at this. There is now a study, and we're now going to take a closer look. So follow me. So there was an 8-week study, and they actually used trained individuals. Yes, when you ask them, do you even lift, bro? These people actually could say yes. So there's 34 of them. They were all male and they all lifted 3 to 5 times per week. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go to the computer and we're going to actually look through that studies and some of the findings. Before we get into this study, I have to admit, I am an IFer. Not all the time, but pretty much every day, I don't eat until lunchtime. Why? Because I like to. But let's get into the study. So a typical intermittent fasting approach, a Leangains approach, is looking at a 16-hour fast with an 8-hour window where you can stuff your face. Not literally, but basically get all your calories, all your macros in within that 8-hour window. So in this study, they had half of the group on the intermittent fasting approach and half just a normal dieting. So as you can see, the intermittent fasting group, they ate at 1 p.m, 4 p.m, and 8 p.m. The normal dieting group, ate at 8 a.m, 1 p.m, and 8 p.m. Calories were the same, everything was matched. The only difference was one group pretty much skipped breakfast and the other group had breakfast. So let's take a little look at the study in a bit more detail.
Yeah, because we're intermittent fasters, aren't we?
Exactly. Everyone who wants to work for Shredded by Science has to be an intermittent faster. So now we're going to take a closer look at the actual training protocols and the results. So we already know 34 trained males. We already know the timings of their feeds. We've just gone through that. But now we're going to look at the training. So their training was, they trained 3 times a week, which it wasn't the best training program. We're going to go through it now. They had sessions A, B, and C. Session A was bench press, incline dumbbell flies, and bicep curls. Always got to do curls at the end. Session B was military press, leg extension, leg curl. And session C was wide grip lat pull down, then reverse grip lat pull down, followed by some tricep extensions, or tricep press downs, whatever they want to call it. They done 6 to 8 reps and they trained to failure. So we know that both groups done that, and it was supervised, their training sessions. So the actual results, the only significant difference was that the intermittent fasting group, or on here, the TRF group, they lost more fat mass. Both groups didn't lose any fat-free mass. So that's a 1-0 to the intermittent fasting crew. If you look at those which are non-IFers who say doing intermittent fasting loses muscle, in this 8-week study, the intermittent fasting group did not lose any muscle. However, when we go back up and we look at the actual nutrition, you can see that the intermittent fasting group, the TRF, were on 2,735 calories on average per day, and the normal dieting group was on 2,910. So is it intermittent fasting which lost the fat mass, or could it just be that they were eating less calories and therefore were in an actual small deficit, hence why they lost fat mass, and the normal dieting group didn't lose any fat mass? Another thing which was highlighted was the hormonal effect as well. Now, with the intermittent fasting group, there was a decrease in total testosterone and IGF-1. In the normal dieting group, there wasn't. Now, is this because of intermittent fasting, or is it because they were in more of a deficit, only a small deficit, hence why there was a reduction? Again, I'm not a doctor, so I can't really go on too much about that, but that's one thing there. So to summarize, intermittent fasting is a method. It is a method that may help some people create a caloric deficit and sustain that. However, other people may try intermittent fasting and find that they find it extremely hard and would much prefer a normal dieting protocol. This study does show, though, that for this specific study, for males which were doing resistance training, that the intermittent fasting group didn't lose any fat-free mass. So that's a good thing. So we may get some of those non-intermittent fasters, those haters, now maybe swaying a little bit and seeing that they don't have to eat 3-4 times a day and they don't have to eat breakfast if they don't want to. As you know, for me personally and Mitchell, we both intermittent fast. What I'd like to see in further research is actually how would this fare with females? Would there be any difference? And also, what would happen if the same study was done again, but they actually were putting them in a caloric surplus, looking to put on muscle mass? What would the findings be there? If you like this video, hit like. Please subscribe to the channel, help the community grow. 5 tips for hard gainers who can't put on muscle. You can.